Hi guys, welcome to 14th Avenue Haunting. A channel where I discuss all things paranormal and a little bit of history. I've always had a real passion for the paranormal and ghost stories. However, today we will be discussing something that happened 40 years ago today. That happened in Westdene, in Johannesburg, in 1985. I would just like to make a disclaimer that anything that I do say within this video is based off of articles that I've read, interviews that has been done, and theories made on the internet, but I will try to tell the story as factual as possible. You can ask most of the older generations where they were during this day, and they will probably be able to tell you. It's something that has stuck with me ever since the first time I heard this story. This is a new approach for me. Normally, if you guys have followed me in the past or you have subscribed, you are aware that I normally just post illustrations and voiceovers on my videos. So let me know if you guys prefer it this way. I'm trying something different. And especially with this story, I just felt like a short illustration and voiceover would not justify and explain everything that happened on that day. On the morning of 27 March 1985, it was a seemingly normal day. The pupils that attend Hoërskool Vorentoe ended their school day and they were all dismissed and got ready to go home. 71 pupils climbed into a double-decker school bus. Now, as far as I understand, the school bus had its normal route. Some claims that I've seen on a Facebook group that I'll also just put the link there, do claim that on this particular day, it was supposed to be another driver of the double-decker bus, but he was off sick. So instead, a driver by the name of Willem Horn took to the wheel instead to take the children home. Some of the surviving learners do claim that the overall atmosphere in the bus was very lively. It's normal. Normally when you are, done with school, you're so excited to get home to go and just have a relaxing afternoon. And this was exactly the case in this situation as well. The kids were talking back and forth. They were playing in the back of the bus. Just an all lively vibe. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm hoping I pronounced the streets correctly, but they drove onto, is it Lewis Street, Lewis Road, or it could be Lewesstraat. So apologies if I am absolutely demolishing the street name. And on this street is a bridge that crosses the Westdene Dam. As the bus driver drove onto the bridge, he lost control of the bus. The bus swerved, drove through the barricades, and plummeted into the reservoir. Some reports do claim that people that were driving behind the bus said that it almost looked like a tire had burst, which caused the bus to drive into the reservoir, but that has not been confirmed. Now you have 72 people, 71 children in a submerged bus. And when you look at the pictures of the initial accident, you can't even see the bus. So the double-decker was completely submerged. But it was absolute chaos at that dam. Just looking at the photos, you can just imagine hundreds of people coming to help. There are reports of sisters and doctors and parents and anyone with a helping hand that jumped in to try and save these children from the submerged bus. I really can't even begin to imagine the horror that those kids must have felt being underwater, trapped inside a bus, trying to free yourself, trying to get up, trying to get to the surface. Some of the children actually do manage to escape and swim to the surface, and one of those was Pieter Koen. Pieter Koen was a 17-year-old high school student of Hoërskool Vorentoe. He managed to escape. He got to the surface. But instead of swimming to the banks, instead of swimming to his safety, he stood there looking around, realizing that so many of his fellow pupils, so many of his friends are still trapped inside the bus. Some reports do claim that his mom arrived on scene and obviously very worried about him. Where is Pieter? Is he okay? What is going on? And she managed to, I don't know if it was a friend or someone that she knew, that told her that they actually saw Pieter and he was busy helping other children that were submerged within the bus. And at that time she was like, okay, I understand, and he's very athletic, he's very fit, and he was a very good swimmer. So at the time she really did not worry too much about the safety of Pieter, especially considering that someone told her that they'd actually spotted him. Pieter decides to dive back in. He dives into the waters, and it is claimed that he kind of used his senses to feel for pupils, to feel for other people trapped inside the bus, and then assisted in that way to bring them out. He would go underwater, come back up with a fellow pupil, go underwater, come back up, and rescue as many people as he possibly could. He managed to save 5 children that day. Then Pieter went down for the 6th attempt to save someone's life. Unfortunately, Pieter never surfaced again. He lost his life, saving the lives of others. He sacrificed himself in order to save his friends. People were being brought to the dam banks. CPR was being done. And unfortunately, within this horrific accident, a lot of the students lost their lives. 42 students died that day. I don't even want to say that I can imagine what a tragic and horrible day that must have been for so many people, not only family and friends, but also for the community as a whole. Having such a big and tragic accident happening with so many casualties, there's a reason people remember it even 40 years later. And with all the casualties and all those deceased students, a teacher from the school made a preliminary identification of each student under the blankets so that the parents wouldn't have to. 35 of the 42 students who passed away were buried at the Heroes Acres in Westdene Cemetery on April 1st, 1985. It was a mass funeral held in honor of those little souls. And then in 2009, a memorial was erected on the banks of the Westdene Dam to commemorate the passing of the 42 victims. Many people in this accident received medals for their bravery, like the Volrad Award that was presented to Theo de Kooker, who selflessly saved 5 children, including his sister, Isaac Bouwer, Willem van Aswegen, and many more, including Pieter Koen, the 17-year-old brave boy who literally sacrificed his life, saving 5 other students' lives. The bus driver was acquitted in regards to the disaster, and reports claim that he had no memory of what happened on that day. There are so many theories, one being that perhaps he had a heart attack, another being that perhaps he fainted, and also, of course, like we've spoken about previously, the burst tire. But what really happened on that day, no one really knows. Pieter's mom said in an interview that she isn't bitter. She feels that her son acted exactly like the selfless and brave and Christian boy that she raised. And I think it speaks a lot to her character as well. Being a mom myself, I can't even fathom being in that position and being able to see some remnants of a silver lining in a situation like that. It's affected an entire community. It's affected so many people across our nation. This accident, this horrible tragedy happened exactly 40 years ago. And it is still fresh in some of the victims, the families, those that had to write the articles, the first responders. It is still so fresh within their minds. And I think it has been etched into their very being. I am so sorry to the families who lost their loved ones that day. And may those 42 angels rest in peace. Within this group on Facebook, I did see that they are planning to have like a memorial service for the 40-year anniversary of the bus disaster. So go check out their page if maybe you want to go and pay your respects. The Westdene Bus disaster of 1985 will never be forgotten. And that's it for this episode. That's it for this story. This has been quite an emotional video to make, as I really feel for the families, I feel for the victims, I feel for everyone who has been touched by this disaster. As someone who wasn't even a thought when this happened, it still touches me. Let me know in the comments what you would like me to talk about next. Like I said, normally I speak about the paranormal, but sometimes I do like to throw in a little bit of history as it's just as interesting. But anyway, have a good day. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time.